Renegades, desperados.
Forever knocking on heaven's door. Damn it. Still that music shut us the silence. I'm only to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young thugs, they're tough protected. Almost every young girl expected. So tomorrow, best is all. Let me another child to crying. Crying. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get up once in white collar. If I can't stretch me dollar, later for me crap or smoke me pipe. Some just out of death from crime. Life just brave, dignity and pride. Till there's only
They're sharing the video, right?
Inside.
Just check it.
And every day is a hustle.
Arguments are settled with muscle.
Till you're 6 feet deep
By 3 feet wide.
Children, should life keep on drifting?
Something that's smoking or sniffing.
Maybe they're trying to forget
This life of misery and regret.
no one shall come to the rescue except cable tongue and Bushu. So they boom boxes the Lego. The drum voices they're to the crying. They're still crying. They're crying and they're crying. Crying and they're crying. Yeah, yeah.
Voices from the ghetto.
Crying.
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 Yeah. Voices from the ghetto. Yeah. We hope.
Can I mix that? Accidental, but
children coming to take back the beat. The power of the word in the conscious styling. Even the river a brand new morning. The power of the word in the rap so styling. Rocking the roots of the conscious system. Talk it all. You want to talk it all. You're bloody receiver. Talk it all. You're silver master. Talk it all. You're friggin' oppressor. Promise, the fire next time. And who is dead, the badly wounded? Who is dead, badly wounded? Who is dead, the badly wounded? Who is dead, badly wounded? Talk it all, you mocking pretender. Take the lyrics and I want to test you. Far too long, you're
Talk your talk, Mr. Mucking Pretender. I hear your lyrics and you come to test you. Far too long. You're filling the children's head with brainwash education. There is a saying. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Many of you would have heard me say in the past, talk about a guy named Maslow. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know what I don't understand? I don't understand the consistency of the following. I understand Ian Allen's following, his nightly following. There's always some new bacchanal, some marked a bus, something went on today, and I understand that. Me, this is just me talking. And I will do my best for as long as I could. There's a comedian I follow named Jim Gaffigan. And at the start of the COVID-19, like everybody else, he thought this was us against the demon invader that was COVID-19. And he said, I'll do a new video every night. Either until we've solved this or until the world ends. What poor Jim didn't realize is you cannot solve something that is set up to fail. You can't. It's set up that way. Anyway, for as long as you all are interested in this, I'll be here. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. I'll tell you what that means. In relation to Maslow and the hierarchy of needs, according to Maslow, the human psyche is a pyramid. And at the base of the pyramid are the physiological needs of a human being. Air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. The seven physiological needs of a human being at the base of Maslow's pyramid, the hierarchy of needs. Air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Like animals, once we have those basic items, we could survive. But we need also personal security, employment, resources, health, and property to feel like we belong in the society. Higher up on that pyramid, we need friendship, intimacy. Give me a second. We need friendship, intimacy. Google changed the way they do this thing and it's just make it so much more difficult now. Give it now. Friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. We need that. Love and belonging. Every human being needs love and belonging. Friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. So beyond the physiological needs, air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction, beyond the safety needs of personal security, employment, resources, health, and property, we need love and belonging to develop as full sentient human beings. We need friendship. We need intimacy, which is not sex. Intimacy is people that you're close with, that you trust and they trust you, and that you share close personal experiences, and it could include physical, hugging, and playing and all the things that you see the animals do in the jungle, we need that too. Esteem. These are high up on the hierarchy of needs. This is where we start to become developed, to become civilized. Everything else here, we're still animals in the jungle. But this is where we become the civilized, developed humans that supposed to take its place at the pinnacle of the world. We need esteem, which is respect, self-esteem. Self-esteem is the good feeling you feel about yourself. Status. We all want to be somebody. Recognition. We want to be recognized for being somebody. Strength. Strength is the ability to overcome the vicissitudes, trials, and tribulations of life. And freedom. And at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the desire to become the most that one can be. What I refer to as maximizing our potential. Now, that hierarchy of needs fits in every part of society. And it applies in every way. Education, home, job. Your whole life is spent in pursuit. Nobody escapes this except the insane. The insane and the seriously mentally ill escapes this. But nobody escapes this. Man is a social animal. We have kept things from when we were an animal, a jungle animal, a cave-dwelling animal. But a lot of those things are still important to the hierarchy. But we've come a long way in that we've been able to put aside the pursuit of physiological needs as the most important thing, because our lives are set up for those things to be part of our daily lives. We don't have to wake up in the morning and run from the hunters in the jungle, and we don't have to wake up in the morning and go hunting in the jungle. We don't have to do those two things. Everything that we do to get dressed and go to the grocery, we incorporate other needs of the hierarchy into it. It could be a sharing moment. We stop in for coffee, we meeting a friend. That's intimacy. We going shopping. That is taking care of our physiological needs, but it also demonstrates status and our self-esteem. Advertisers understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you look at ads for bling, if you look at ads for things that are considered top of the tier items, they always attach to those things those top of the pyramid items. And it's all about feeling good about yourself and getting recognition for yourself and other people seeing you. And in Trinidad, a lot of us make our decisions in life based on see and be seen. And, well, it is who we are. But maximizing our potential has been left out of the equation for many of us. For many of us, the ability to maximize our potential is not on the cards. The people who form the lowest class, and I've said this before, their children don't get asked what you want to be when you grow up, because their children don't have choices generally. And unless you are born spectacularly beautiful, and everybody who see the child say that child gonna be a superstar, gonna be a model, gonna be, and life opens those doors for you. But generally, or somebody born with ability, artistic ability, sporting ability, this boy, Lionel Messi, if you read the history of Lionel Messi, you realize that they lived in real poverty in Argentina. And they had these little wall enclosed football sessions all over Argentina. And as a very small, because he's always small, he's still small, but as a very small boy, he demonstrated a capacity with a football, like Diego Maradona, that they knew, everybody knew his name was spoken with, that will happen for him at some point. Didier Drogba got it late in life because of the poverty of the country he was from, and they started exploring African nations for football talent kind of late. But when they didn't, they realized, they started pulling all of them in. Because in Europe, there was still a lot of racism and a lot of monkey chants, and Samuel Eto'o had to deal with that for all of his career. So it was hard for African players to play in European football, especially in England, and the FA Cup and that kind of stuff. But the point I want to make is, for the vast majority of the very poor, our society is set up so bad. Human society is set up so bad that for the very poor, your children, you hear parents telling other parents, don't fill the child head with dreams. Don't fill the child head with dreams. You hear other parents telling children who talking about growing up to be this and growing up to be that, how they will beat that stupidness out of their head, and they better understand how life works and things like that. Because for them, there is a level, there is a roof, and we are ceiling. And we, all of us in society, we exist knowing this without understanding the unfairness of it. And my father, when he told me, there go I, but for the grace of God, for my whole life, because he said that to me at a very young and impressionable age, every time I saw somebody in difficulty, my mind shows me, or somebody I love, one of my children or my parents. And there go I, but for the grace of God. I have escaped it. But for good fortune, I would be that. But for an accident of birth. But for coincidence. But for the right timing. But for a fluke. But for God. But for the universe. Whatever you believe. I am not that. I have escaped it. Somebody else is. My mind, my whole life has asked, why is society set up this way? My whole life, I have asked, why is Trinidad set up this way? And I learned that our economy was set up on the model of the slave plantation, and that the poor are the field Negroes, and that the educated poor, the lower middle class. We have a lower middle class and an upper middle class. Our lower middle class could have jobs of the same kind as our upper middle class, but because of skin color or name or access or family or something, you have access to spaces and places the lower middle class don't have access to. The lower middle class is the house Negroes. Their jobs are limited. Their job options are better than the field Negro jobs, but it is limited, and more importantly, it is controlled. And a lower middle class house Negro cannot challenge an upper middle class person, even if they're in the same position in a company, because the upper middle class person has an unseen advantage. An automatic win is stacked in their favor. So the lower middle class house Negro, and in Trinidad, that made up our entire media class. Our entire media class, because it didn't take much to escape the poverty that you were supposed to live if you were willing to write masses' lies. If you were willing to sell your soul for a better plate of food, and it comes down to that. And this is just fact, eh? None of our journalists are people, none that I am aware of, are people in pursuit of journalism. We used to have people like that, but they all escaped the plantation and went on to real countries where their natural desire to maximize their potential helped them soar. But in Trinidad, fear, greed, lust to a small, most of the 7 deadly sins apply to us in the choices that we make. But a lot of our media operatives, and I want to focus it on them only because they have a role, they're supposed to have a role in society. The media is supposed to have a role in society. That you can't oops your role. You can't oops your role. You can't be on a stretcher in an ambulance with a paramedic and you're flatlining and they pull out the crash cart and instead of rebooting your heart, the two of them play with each other and they just forget about you and let you dead. You can't oops that. You can't phone it in. You can't, and you really can't sell it. But that's what's happened here. We have a media class in Trinidad that exists on very poor salaries, but they get to dress up and go in Massa House. That is a heady rush for people like some of them who never would have ever had that as a chance. Most of the media are not highly educated, and education wasn't available to them as a pathway out of field Negro status. That was their designation. That's where they were going. But an opportunity opened a door where they could come and oppress the other field Negroes from Massa and get a better plate of food, get a better place to sleep. And what used to be out of the barracks and onto Massa porch or under Massa eave now is the difference between living in Barataria and One Woodbrook Place. It's the same thing. Somebody named Besundat Balgobin. Let me just send Besundat on his way one time. Because last night we had multiples of thousands of viewers. Tonight we're talking no bacchanal. There's no promise of bacchanal and Marks the Bus. Tonight we will be limited to the people who want to be informed, educated, and empowered. So if I started to shout right now, if I started to call names and expose people and call out crap, so like, hey, come on, see what this man's saying. But that can't be who we are. And it makes the point that the reason it works is that we've learned to feed off of that as media. We've learned to live such disinterested, unimportant lives that we are at the bottom of the rung and we get our physiological needs met and then we get drunk or we get high. The rest of Maslow's hierarchy doesn't apply to all of those people because they are oppressed, they are suppressed, and they are blocked. There is a 6-inch block wall running for hundreds of yards between Fatima College and Mokorapo Secondary. And to pass SCA for Fatima all but guarantees you a chance to make the right connections, even if you got it as the golden ticket in the Charlie's Chocolate Factory. Even if you got it as the golden ticket there, and now Fatima is a chance for you. And poor people, if their child gets in a prestige school, they have it harder than anybody else. Because prestige school, more expensive than normal Eric Williams secondary nonsense. Because you don't need to show up in Eric Williams secondary nonsense with everything that you're required to, because you buy a couple things in Form 1 only to find out that you really have no classes until Form 5. Every now and then, somebody will slip out of there with some passes and people will say, hey, not everybody failing as a fact. Not everything is everything. And absolutism, please, keep that away from my wall. But the point is, that 6-inch concrete wall, I asked myself, if you broke down that wall, if you broke down that 6-inch concrete wall between Fatima College and Mokorapo Secondary, and you allow the children to mingle, now you have contacts and you're making contact with the very poor and the usual children of the upper middle class and higher. Before, there was Maple Leaf and International School, which became the new hierarchy, because you didn't just have to pass an exam to get in. A rigged exam would have gotten you into Fatima St. Mary's, Holy Name, St. Joseph, Providence, Presentation, etc. A rigged SCA exam that we don't need. It's an unnecessary torture on our children that we don't need. But now, like Movie Town became $50 to see a movie. So we separated society into those who could afford Globe and those who could afford Movie Town. Every time the children of the poor spend money at Movie Town, they have to do without something else. While others, to them, is a fling out money. I'm not knocking Movie Town. I'm just trying to get you to understand. And all of this we have to understand, because this is why it doesn't work. We're in a country where every single person in the country was born a millionaire, but it was stolen. It was stolen by foolish voting in a rigged, corrupt country by a different type of house Negro. Parliamentarians. Parliamentarians, because you don't have to have any passes to get into Parliament. You don't have to have any degrees to go into Parliament and make decisions. Ostensibly, you don't, because the whip of the party and the leadership of the party that answering to the financiers that put the party in government dictates where the party going and what you vote in when you go in the house. So talking about conscience vote, and everybody should vote their conscience in Trinidad. When we vote people that cocaine barons sponsor the music trucks and the flags and the shirts and the posters, and we don't understand that we are the author of our misery by following that track, by not asking who is paying for this election campaign. Who? Where is your barbecue? Where's your t-shirt selling? Where's your tickets and your bingo and your raffle and your begging? You're not doing any of those things. What you're doing is you're having a pre-sale. You're pre-selling corruption. That if you give us a couple $1 million to go and spend on the media to bullshit the public and to not have events where the people are dealt with issues. We don't do that. We bring goats on stage. We dress up mannequins in saris. We bring 2 gorillas to undress somebody in a sari. All that kind of shit. And oh good, that's us. That's our election. Who get the best? Oh good, for the election win. Watching an outer time Chinese like Stuart Young trying to dance left foot, right foot. That's a oh good for some, we win. Then don't have to care that Stuart Young, don't even consider them worthy of his piss. The people who voting for him, and not just Stuart. Calm, but you're so far beneath him, it is not funny. The man is a contemptuous rat, but he thinks himself above everybody else. And he should, because he is wealthy in a corrupt nation where people could get away with just about anything as long as the lowest class continue to accept that's their lot in life. You see, the field Negroes in this analogy of the plantation have no shackles but their own greed. And the advertisers tell them that the chipboard, veneer, bullshit that courts sell and standards sell in American stores, that you have to have it, that you don't sacrifice, that you don't build generational wealth by making sure that your sufferation is not handed down. So you work to pay higher purchase, and you work to pay loans, and you work to pay credit, instead of you working to save money. They have a man who building a house on Patna Street in St. James. 50 years now. 50 years that house under construction. And then you drive down, you know the street in front, long circular mall with all the drains? When you drive down, just look on the right, you're heading in the western direction, you see the house. It never got plastered, never got painted. Maybe along the way, he died or he ran out. But I remember I saw that house when it started, and every time he got a little bit of money, he cast a lintel, put up a wall, finish a cast a concrete base. And I am willing to bet that no matter what, that structure that he lives in, that provides him with security and shelter and status and value, is his. It may not be able to stand up against what is built in Goodwood Park and Fairways and Gulfview, but it serves the same purpose. Now, other people get more status and more self-esteem because you feel that if you can send your children to international school, then you are a higher level of animal in this plantation. But what the bottom don't understand, and what even the house Negroes don't understand, is that in this plantation model, massa is an illusion. Even the overseers who crack the whip have been put under the subjugation of debt in this country, and a never-ending struggle to reach moving ends. They'll never achieve it. When you talk about things like cost of living and inflation, you will realize that there are artificial numerical devices created in the economy that will forever keep the masses away from being able to afford stuff. When Sabga finished ratify his hegemony and monopolizes clay blocks in Trinidad, the prices will go up without a justification because the cost of the clay in the ground didn't change. The technology to extract the clay from the ground, actually the cost of the technology went down. Went down to the point where you could automate the extraction of clay from the ground and send it through a natural gas kiln that will burn and harden it at less cost than having to grind wood and steam and fire and fan it. Now you could automate a system that will pull clay out the ground and send you a block on the other side for practically free. So in a real world, the price of a clay block now should be cheaper than it was in 1880. But it isn't. And nobody could tell you why. But look around you. Right now, wherever you are, everything around you, every single thing, came out the ground for free. Just add labor. Everything. Nothing is a miracle. Nothing is magic. Everything comes out of the earth for free. Just add labor. And it is the labor of the lowest class that is responsible for everything that we ascribe an artificial value to, that creates the economy, that the masses are the lowest class, because without their spend, there is no economy. 3 rich men can't exist without 300,000 poor men. It is the work and the labor and the consumption of the poor that fills the pockets of those fortunate enough to be rich. It is why I told Mario Sabga Aboud and Peter George Sr. when they talk their bullshit about we are the smallest, but we are the most powerful. I say, no, jackass. You're not the most powerful. You are the least powerful. You are the most fortunate. But you talked it as race. And you were saying, you said that the Syrians are only 5,000 and you're the smallest but you're the most powerful. I want to tell you something. The Africans and the Indians that working in your store, that working in your restaurant, that flipping your burger, that in Kiss Baking Company, making the dough and the bread to come and make the bread that goes in the burger, that had go offload off the boat to bring in the store to sell over the counter to the mass of Africans and Indians on the other side of the counter, that labor and that consumption is what made you wealthy. So you could drizzle olive oil all over your ass. But it has nothing to do with you being powerful. Because if all of the Africans and all of the Indians decide, well, I'm not working for you, then you have to choose which sufferation you're going to give to you and your family members, which burger you going and flip, which coffee Christian Boutte going to make. And his wife had to go and put fries in a bag in a box in KFC. At some point, they'll realize, wait a minute, let's hush our asses. Because we are extremely fortunate that the masses don't understand that it is their labor and their consumption that makes us rich. And I want people to understand that. Because our society is set up piss poor and bad. And this is why it doesn't work. Because it is set up to fail. And the priest and the pundit and the imam not telling you this. So I am your religion too. Because somebody needs to stand on the altar of common sense and tell you, while the poor will be with us always, they need not have to suffer. We could set this country up in a proper fashion, where there are jobs aplenty, so that your labor is not exploited, where you can choose, and out of that job, depending on how much sacrifice and hard work you prepare to give, you could turn that job into a career. I drive people who work for me to the breaking point until I realize, that's as far as this person could go. I could take you out of Lavantil, but I can't take the Lavantil out of you. In the book, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen said, no man can rise higher than his own image of himself. The latest concept being sold in the pursuit of wealth and in the pursuit of any high development in life is that you must kill the person that you are so that you can be the person you want to be. That is a flip side to the concept. But what James Allen was trying to say is that you cannot be the prime minister if you don't see yourself as the prime minister. The difference between Barack Obama and the man who looked just like him, but who parks the cars outside Zen, is that Barack Obama saw himself different. And that started with his parents, and that started with his caregivers, and that started with his community that saw greatness for him. Like when they saw it for Lionel Messi, who had a natural skill, or they saw it for the woman who our Giselle Laron beat her for Miss World. She came second, but she went on to have a fantastic movie career and a modeling career and is almost a billionaire. They saw for her that she would have, because of natural beauty, a better life. Just imagine if we took the Tao Te Ching seriously, the Book of Five Rings. Just imagine if we took that seriously and we said to all of our children, you are the most beautiful and you are the most talented. Imagine that. The man with the most patents in history give me a minute. I need to give you something. The man with the most patents in history was Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison's mother was told in school, she was summoned to school, and she was told that your son is a fool and we can't teach him. We've taught him everything that he is capable of learning. You ought to take him out of here. They're making no sense. And she had to take him home. And while crying, explain to her son that the school said that he is so bright that they have taught him everything they know and they can't teach him anything anymore, and she might as well take him out of here. And he went on to become the inventor of most of the things that we take for granted. But the point that I'm making is, it's easy to see the Lionel Messi in Lionel Messi. It's hard to see the Thomas Edison in a fool. But that's our role as leaders in society. And we have to kick at this structure that subjugates our people. In Trinidad and Tobago, it is easy because of colonialism and slavery that gave light skin power over black skin. That became entrenched in our minds, and we saw from then on what Chris Rock did as a show called Good Hair. You should watch that show. The show talks about weaves and the value of weaves, and India, what the value of hair coming off a child in the ghetto's head is worth in New York City. But more importantly, he talks about this, the handover of colonialism and slavery, where black hair was taught to be the bottom rung of society because black hair don't win. And we learned that. We learned that white skin, the light skin, Massa Charan, Massa half-breeds, red people got up into higher spaces and places, and we did that. We did all of that. And if we as a society never confronts all of this, all of the bullshit, we will forever be, because Eric Williams was a liar, and people ask me why I have such contempt for that man. Because Eric Williams actually sold the grandchildren of Africa in this country into a slavery that not even the Queen and the colonialists did. By the time the Queen of England was leaving Trinidad and Tobago, August 31st, 1962, black people may not have had the rights and freedoms that they enjoy today, but they don't enjoy this today because of Eric Williams or anybody like him. In fact, were it not for fellas like McCandle Dagger and Njak and Stokely Carmichael and others who fought Eric Williams for the rights of black people, Eric Williams and his statement that Massa Day done and we will no longer be hewers of wood and carriers of water, went on to make the grandchildren of Africa in this country the most oppressed economically than they've ever been in history. And that's a sad, sad fact. And that has fueled, that is the philosophy of Balize House. There are no people in Balize House who takes their role as a leader seriously, because they're not leaders. They are all placeholders. Fitzgerald Hines is not the member of Parliament for Laventille West or the Minister of National Security because he deserves it. Fitzgerald Hines is not there by meritocracy. Fitzgerald Hines is not there because of intelligence or ability. Fitzgerald Hines is there because he is subservient to Massa, the massa of debt in the debt trap that our economy is. There is no justifying, and I tell this to people all the time. Don't tell me about things that are grown in America that are compared to grown in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk this. If I give you a shovel to dig a hole in Trinidad, and I give you a shovel to dig a hole in London, and I give you a shovel to dig a hole in New York City, every hour of hole digging, each of you get a salary per hour. At the end of the first hour in Trinidad, the minimum wage I think is $17.50. In America, $14. But in America, that $14 is 7 times the $17.50 that the person in Trinidad got for digging the hole. You've just got 7 hours worth of Trinidad hole digging labor. And what's worse, in America, besides the fact that that labor is worth 7 times what his Trinidad contemporary got, the money that he received has 13 times the spending power. So Trinidadians get hit twice. We are underpaid. And then the money that we are paid with has no value. So that you can never, under the current existing situation, work yourself out of poverty. And worse, the banking system in Trinidad and Tobago is set up to extract from you money every month if you do nothing in the bank. If you don't go near the bank, they're still charging you. There are charges in the bank just for a line item on a spreadsheet, and that is criminally unjust. And those bankers that came up with that, that continue to enforce that, they should go to hell. Murderers should be set free. They should go to hell. They should burn for all eternity. In any view, in any worldview where there is a hell, that is who deserves to be in the hottest part of hell. But we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we have, and we've always had, since I started speaking, the ability to tell each other. We had the ability. You know what changed my life? Because we didn't come from money. Me and my family. We didn't come from money. When my father chose my mother, he locked himself out of the enjoyment that his brothers who got millions of dollars and house bought for them and all kind of shit, he never got that. So he's been forever running on a treadmill, trying to keep up to his old age. And we never came from money. So we've known poverty and we've known suffering. But I don't dam that bridge, because I tell myself that this Forrest Gump life that I've lived has given me an understanding of things on an intimate level that when I speak to people, they realize I know what I'm talking about. I've seen days of no food, not in my family, but myself. And I've been through the up and down roller coaster of this treadmill, because I have advantages because of my caramel latte complexion, and I am bright. But it only takes me so far until I run up against one of the children of entitlement. And if there's one piece of pie to share, I don't get it, even if I am the best man for the job. And it made me, and I had to tell somebody who called in last night, I said, don't be depressed. It made me hungry for that piece of pie. It made me want to fight for that piece of pie. Something in me said, I deserve better. And I have been fighting for that my whole life. And I made myself educated. And I made myself bright. My brother, who was limited in how he could develop himself, escaped the plantation 20 years ago, went on to work under the radar in foreign countries and put himself through school, the most grueling labor to get himself educated to the point where he has become advisors to global governments. We in my family, my mother told me this morning, she said to me on the phone, she said, y'all not supposed to be where y'all are, who y'all are. There are plenty of people who, that hurts them. It hurts them that when they look at their children of entitlement, that they don't have the abilities or the access or the futures that you and your brother and even your sister have. I have a sister who is changing the world of finance. My parents, and people have asked, your parents just created overachievers, but it's something in that culture, and I wanted one more than anything else. And I said to somebody today, I said, the time that I spend in politics, the time that I spend pursuing this every single day of my life, I spend so many of my hours in so many meetings, pushing to try to get to become, for this to become something that takes so many more people out of poverty and drags them up and gives them a chance to break through that wall. And today I met with 2 guys. This evening I met with 2 guys. And they are 2 supremely successful guys. They are way beyond where they should be. They are, and The sky is the limit for them. I mean, they are brilliant in their field and they're excelling in life, and they both, they're not even middle-aged yet, so they have a whole world of development ahead of them. And both of them came today to say that the one thing they agreed on and what united them and brought them there is that they both agreed that the only person in the politics that talking sense in this country is Phillip Edward Alexander. Now, I took that as an ultimate compliment, but I didn't blush and my ego didn't swell, because I thought, okay, they say that when you, whatever your labor in the noisy confusion of life, make sure that what you do is the best that you can do. And this is what I do every night. So I said earlier, I don't know why y'all show up, but as long as y'all showing up, I'll continue to do this. And I won't come here to talk shit to you. I'll come here every night with something that somewhere through this conversation, through the hundreds and the thousands of the people that show up to listen to tonight and tomorrow and on the reruns, I hope it reaches and touches somebody and it makes them realize, because I'm telling you, I was trapped in that bubble of believing that my life was limited and that this is as far as I could go. So enjoy myself, and I was enjoying myself. But something moved 28 years ago when my son was born. And that thing that moved, and that's why I say all the time, this country could be saved by the parents alone. Because when a parent, a real parent, looks at their child, all of a sudden, they see all the sharp edges. They see all the holes. They see all the ways that you could trip and fall and butt your head. Parents see all the monsters. They check. A parent, before your child born, wherever you lie down, you're sleeping. A parent goes and check all the locks on the doors, and turns off the lights, and turns off the stove and the gas, and make sure that everything is safe. Not for them, for their child. When Joshua was born, I changed 180 degrees. Never look back. I have been on a different track, not a treadmill, a track since then. And everything that I've done since then was for a better world for Joshua and now Bella. And when Sting sang that song about the Russians, that the world can't end if the Russians love their children too. Trinidad can't fail if everybody love their children. If we're doing this for our children, Trinidad can't fail. Can't. No matter who you are, who you were, that doesn't matter. When you become mommy and daddy, the game different. Nothing in life is the same. Everything now is to defend. And when you realize, and I watch grandparents who still treat their children like their babies and their grandchildren like their babies' babies, but they still have a responsibility. I get it, and I understand. And I don't know why in this country it is taking so long for us to wake up and realize that we've always had a common struggle, regardless of how white or how black or how Indian or how Chinese. It doesn't matter. The struggle has been common. The interconnectivity of the illusion of massa created a violence in our society that robbed the people at the very top who have had so much wealth but have never been safe. And they've never been comfortable. Because the poverty that it took to generate that artificial wealth in a country where the majority of wealth is underpinned by, to quote chambers of commerce leaders, great crimes. If tomorrow officers, police officers, soldiers, Coast Guardsmen, nurses, doctors, sanitation workers, everybody in society took their job seriously and treated everything like it mattered, the society will start to change immediately. as soon as, because officers of the law and officers of the court and lawyers, their jobs, they're supposed to take away the wrong that's eating away and creating the rot that is damaging our society. But they don't do it. And there's no reason for them to do it because the system is so broken that they work in. Police officers tell you, why charge the man and spend the next 20 years of your life going to court? Because he's at bottom of the wrong guy. And the matter is not an important matter to society. It's not somebody important house they broke into. It's not somebody important phone he thief. So it'll never see the light of day in a court. And you'll frustrate yourself with a revolving door of legal aid lawyers and people calling your name, and long after you retire, you have a book of 28 and 30 cases that still want to call your name, that you have to go and witness and give evidence. Why do it? Why would the system be so? Vernon DeLima said last night, there are people in this country who their murder cases won't get called for 10, 20, 30 years. Why would it be so? Why would it be so? Why would the system be so badly broken? Gary Griffith told the nation last night that the two highest office holders in this country conspired to block him becoming commissioner again. Why would that be so? Is it that we reward criminality in this country? Is it that we reward people who will sell their souls for corruption, but not those who will stand against it? And how do we, the owners of Trinidad and Tobago, how do we feel about the country we live in, where a teacher who gets called up to teach in Fatima gets a safer life than the teacher who gets called up to teach in Mokorapo Secondary, because the children in Mokorapo Secondary fit a different sociological profile. Daddy might be in jail, or they might come from a broken home, or they may have no male role models, or they may be in gangs at a very early age, because that's where they get in intimacy. If you listen to Gregory Sloan Seal, who was the most brilliant of our law enforcement advisors, that they've lost. He's gone on to work for a multinational organization, having given most of his life for that subservient salary, trying to help as many people as possible. And if you listen to him talk about how our society, how the lack of role models, how the lack of family structure has created a gang culture for children who just need something to belong to. According to Maslow, Maslow told the Prime Minister, Maslow told the Ministry of National Security, Maslow told the Parliament, Maslow told the Speaker and the Senate President and all the senators, Maslow told them that if you don't treat with this pyramid sensibly, if you only attach yourself to the bottom of the pyramid and the physiological needs, if you do that, if that is all you give your attention to, then the children who are not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Fixing Trinidad and Tobago starts with every adult decision we make next. All of us who's listening to this tonight. Because we're supposed to take a responsibility and say, I will take this knowledge away and I will try to plant positive seeds wherever I go and try to get my brethren to understand. Listen, your struggle is not a racial struggle. Africans and Indians are not at war in Trinidad and Tobago. Indians not trying to do Africans anything, and Africans not trying to do Indians anything. They've created a mirage to separate you and divide you, so they could create two political parties, the PNM and the UNC, that they could finance both and they could operate the leadership of both and tell the leadership of both to give them the corrupt contracts, because both of them, the PNM and the UNC, fight each other for an electoral victory financed by the same person. So what that means is you owe your soul, you owe yourself in office to somebody who paid for your whole campaign. Made sandwiches, paid for the sandwiches that the people who went out and put out the flyers, stick them on the wall, it paid for the sandwiches, paid for the flyer, paid for the pace, it paid for the transportation. That without them, when people come in and say, how the PNM put up 50,000 flyers all over the wall in Belmont, we had to answer them. We can't answer them. We don't have money. We don't have money for pace. We don't have money for flyers. Look, we just get some money, so and so. What did it come for? Why is it there? Why did they give you the money? I told that to Marsha Riley Walker, Lorraine Walker, whatever her name is. Marsha is a brilliant person. I told her that. She and I will fight forever because Marsha's thinking can't get beyond the poverty she knows. Marsha can't get beyond the fact that the world she lives in is an illusion, that her ability is what is real, that her potential is what is real, and that maximizing that potential is what is real, and it is not limited to what financiers could give a party so that she could go and walk in a street and convince people that this time around this bandit side is better than this bandit side. When at the end of the 5-year term, more often than not, more nothing has been given. Those who are in charge of the economy would have moved the ends further. There are people who work in the bank. A bank teller, not a bank teller, a bank loans officer responsible for mortgages gets between $8,000 and $10,000 a month. In the model of the Trinidad and Tobago mortgage finance, housing finance in Trinidad and Tobago, they need to qualify $14,000 income, and that is basic first-time home ownership to the level of somebody aspiring to lower middle class. That means that there are people sitting in judgment of others coming for loans to own a house who will never own a house. And that is across the board. The value of real estate in Trinidad and Tobago has been artificially driven up by the cost of material. If we opened Trinidad's borders, well, it can't happen now because of the supply chain nonsense and the lack of foreign exchange, and even that is artificial. We'll talk about the foreign exchange another time. But let's say all those things were equal now. If you were to open the market and let people import construction material, Sabga go out of business in a month, because nobody would have to buy his overpriced material. And if you open the market to cement and you took the artificial obstacles to foreign players, Trinidad Cement Limited would last one more month. You would get cement for $15 a bag. We're paying $45 and $50 a bag now. But it's not worth $15. And those things that go into making up a house, because right now, the cost of material to build a house in Trinidad and Tobago have gone up 100%. So if a house was costing you $200,000 to build before, it's costing you $400,000 now. And there's no justification and there's no reason why the government did nothing to manage those things. But then to make it worse, the value of real estate in this country has been bought up by drug lords. It's been bought up by people who have stolen your money from the treasury through corruption, through graft, bid rigging, and corruption. And now, to add insult to injury, now you have less chance of getting money, but they are taking the money that they've stolen from you and buying up the real estate and pricing it out of your reach. And it is why I said years ago that the only property tax regime that makes sense in this country, I don't know what's going on in New York. I don't know what's going on in Transylvania. I don't care what's going on in Liechtenstein and New Zealand. I am dealing with the realities of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm telling you that the only property tax that makes sense in Trinidad and Tobago is that on your first property, your primary dwelling, and a fellow called Phillip who own about 4 apartments and he just rent them out, get back with me for this. But I told him there could be a space for actual renters who provide tenantable property, and that's a conversation we could have. But he thinks that this is an attack on capitalism. It's not. This is actually driving capitalism, because if you have more people owning homes, the numbers, the experience, the science, it doesn't lie. The more people that own homes is the better the development of the family, and the crucible of the development, there will be less crime. Fathers and mothers and families stay together, the family unit lasts longer, you generate institutional wealth, and the society grows and prospers. And then all that other money will have to go somewhere else. But what we say is that the primary dwelling of the family should attract 0% property tax. 0%. None. There should be no property tax, or if you are going to ascribe a property tax to properties, remove the stamp duty. Remove the stamp duty across the board. Or say no property tax on properties for all who qualify as the bottom 50% of society. Because it is them you want to put in a home. You want them in a home, because people who own their own home develop their communities. People who own their own homes develop their families. People who own their own homes develop the country. Crime falls. Drug use falls. Homelessness falls. Come on. Everything that we want gone is pegged to home ownership. If you make jobs and home ownership the 2 most important pillars in this country, but the contract mafia don't want that. The contract mafia want you renting from them forever, and the bank's not helping you, so the government has to decide to step in and use its power instead of the banks. And this is what Mia Motley was copying when she spoke in Barbados, because I've been saying this for a decade now. That Trinidad and Tobago, in this country, the only way to get the drug money out of property and real estate and bring the price back down to reality within reach of average people is to say the first and primary property you own, 0%. The second property you own, 5%. The third property, 10%. The fourth, not the rentable income, 10% of the value. If it's worth $1 million, you'll pay us $100,000 this year. Your fourth property, 15%. Your fifth property, 20%. Well, now you reach a house that's worth $1 million, you're paying me $200,000 this year. We'll go on, and we'll keep escalating until we reach, if you have 10 extra properties and you are not an official renter, 100% of the value of the house every year. $1 million every year back into the treasury. We'll use that to put people in housing. That is the only way to beat that cocaine money out of the real estate market. That is the only way to beat. Listen now, there are properties in Trinidad and Tobago worth $50 and $60 million, Basic houses. It's unbelievable. And the only way to get that corruption money out, and I'll tell you this, a property tax regime like that will expose all who have that kind of money, because they've been allowed to buy properties with no paper trail. Cash. La Fontaine and La Riviera flip and change hands 3 and 4 times. Cash money. Do your research. And the government knows, and the central bank knows. So if the Minister of Finance don't know, because if Imbert don't know, and Hawaii don't know, and Vassan Barat don't know, and Mariano Brown don't know, and Karen Nunes Teixeira don't know, you've been putting jackasses into office all the time, who have been beholding to the people who have been destroying this country. And the way to fix it is to face all of our realities, and to know that if the government wanted this to not be so, it wouldn't be so. So that the only reason it is so is that the government is part of this grand conspiracy that oppresses and suppresses the masses of people in this country. And the only way of breaking that is to stop voting these puppets of that contract mafia into office. We have hundreds of people employed in the diplomatic corps all over the world, stunting. We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars upholding properties and maintaining properties that we don't need. A Progressive Empowerment Party government says we only need 5 ambassadors out of Trinidad, Asia, Africa, America, European Union, United Nations. 5. Asia includes Australia. America is everything from Greenland, Antarctica, Canada, to the Arctic, to Chile, to the Falkland Islands. Everything in the Western world, America. One person with one team. Because what ambassadors and high commissioners used to have to do before, you don't have that job anymore. Prime ministers and presidents talk one-on-one via WhatsApp. Hey, what's going on, Bill? WhatsApp. Now for now, the same way you talk to your partner, they're talking to one another. You don't need to go through your high commissioner who have to go through the next high commissioner and foreign office and all that bullshit. All that don't exist no more. But we're still paying these people. We're rewarding London in London. Because we have nothing else to give him and just move him out of the way. But rewarding for his loyalty to oppressing those at the bottom rung of society. The 5 ambassadors you need, they have 2 jobs. Bring foreign direct investment from wherever they are to Trinidad and sell everything that Trinidad has saleable today. You could imagine that. Just imagine that. I could tell you in an hour 100 industries that would gladly come to Trinidad because of that 1/13th value digging that hole. That will gladly come to Trinidad. You get them duty free, gas free. Give them duty free for export, natural gas free. Give them real estate free for 10 years. Let them build their own factories. Give them Wi-Fi free. All of these things cost us 0. Give it to them for free in exchange for them paying labor. No automated factories. Labor intensive business. Come and pay our workers. Because once they settle down in Trinidad and it is financially viable for them to produce whatever they produce here for the Americas, for the Caribbean, 20 million people in the Caribbean, you know, for South America, for Central America, once you sell them Trinidad as a hub, here we are selling them. We have summer 24/7, 365 days out of the year, 366 on leap years. We always have summer. Nothing to stop your production. Build your factory 6 feet off the ground if you're in a flood-prone area. Other than that, partner, like yourself. So you never have to close for weather. And Trinidad and Tobago, they're now quoting me, the only Caribbean territory outside the hurricane belt. So we never have to worry about that. So we could bring thousands of industries, businesses to Trinidad and Tobago. You don't have to wait on Sapgan, Abood, and Chin and Sinanan to come up with a next version of copying. Let me see how the Americans make their coffee. I'm going to make a coffee so and sell it to Trinidadians for $30 a cup too. $2 worth of coffee, or less, because they're buying in bulk. So let's just say for a minute that we had a government that was interested in treating the people of Trinidad and Tobago with respect. And that they understood that their first job, the government's first job, was the creation of jobs. And that people are supposed to measure every single day was the job index, was the unemployment index. And the target must be 0.00. There must be 0.00 unemployment. The business sector must be clamoring for employees. So we can open the country bit by bit and bring in little Venezuelans, little Grenadians, little Jamaicans, and help them settle down into our society because we're underpopulated. Singapore, as a third of the size of Trinidad and Tobago, has 5 million people. So Trinidad could at least have 10 million people as a population, not this continuous 1.4 million people. A proper population of about 10 million people gives us the opportunity to compete in the globe 10 times our current size on anything. That's where we need to be. So from the moment you start to fix the country, and you understand that everything you fix, that you're fixing jobs. So anybody want a job, get a job. Anybody have a job that want a home, could own a home. You fix jobs, you fix housing, and you fix incrementally with each increase. 50,000 people, I'll bring in 100,000 people. With each 100,000 people, you know, there are amounts of healthcare, amounts of education. If you bring in 100,000 people and they have 20,000 children, you need to add 20,000 seats to the education at every level going forward. That's how you develop a country. The reason it doesn't work in Trinidad and Tobago is that Eric Williams went and took wholesale, and I was talking to these two gentlemen about this today, wholesale copied Westminster. We don't have a Westminster system of government. Westminster works because of the Magna Carta. Westminster works because these people have title and they have self-respect and they have respect in society, and they're not willing to sacrifice that to eat a food or a piece of money. Very few are corrupt because they don't want to risk their name, their character, their family inheritance. They're living in a house 400 years, a family living in that house. Lord this and lady that and duchess this and duke that. You think they're going to bullshit that for extra Range Rover? They're not on that. They're on moving up from duke to something else. That's what they're interested in. Westminster doesn't work because there's nothing in Trinidad and Tobago to prevent these charlatans from just going in there and thief out everything. So they went in and thief out everything. Every prime minister we've ever had has been a crook. You can't prove it. If we argue about it, we call names, we end up in court for defamation. But even the judges who are sitting down in judgment smirking and laughing and no, because they're crooks. There is nobody who has passed through politics in government in this country, with the exception of some in the NAR, who could explain their wealth. All of a sudden. All of a sudden. And they know how to put things in their brother's name. Make your brother explain his wealth. And your sister, make your sister, your wife. All of a sudden, everybody's wife is contractor. Big, big contract. They ain't no a hammer from a screwdriver, but they're freaking contractor. And they're winning contracts. Ask Terrence they all saying. Winning big, big, multi-million-dollar contracts. You want to know why we have a bullshit public health ordinance that has everybody oppressed and sending police to kick you in your face if you come to protest? That bullshit ordinance is a continuous state of emergency. It'll be forever used to keep you. That's why they need you boostering. If you had a booster for the next 4 years, and all the Trinidadians accepting that bullshit in a virus that has died. So when we came out with the big scare for 24 hours of Omicron, the rest of the world say, hey, pump all your brakes. Omicron is nothing to be afraid of. It's less severe. It's mild. They have to look for other reasons to justify why people are dying in Trinidad and Tobago in global record numbers. We voted for that. So the decision that we all have to collectively make, and that's the decision we have to make. After we get the information, the decisions we have to make is to educate others and then to do better. I don't necessarily have to end up in any seat of office, but I will take it as a culmination of my life's purpose to have educated so many people to the point where the Speaker of the House can't bullshit nobody anymore. And the Senate President can't hide her connections to PNM and this appointee and that appointee in this state enterprise can't hide and pretend that they're there for some purpose, some merit, some ability. It's all bullshit. They don't have... You think if Paula May Weeks was British, her name could have called in what went on with Keith Rowley and the Police Service Commission, and she cling on to that salary? She gone so fast. She would have called a press conference distancing herself from the actions of the government and have been appalled. And I am dismayed that I've associated my family, and I'm going to apologize to my family that I've associated myself with a government so willfully corrupt. But she can't say that. Paula May Weeks cannot say that. Because Paula May Weeks there for the salary. And that's sad. Salary is a bunch of salaried people who get a little something better than they thought they could ever have of themselves in their lives, and they're not giving that up. That's how it worked on the plantation. Oppress everybody else because your plate of food better. And the only way that changing is if you vote for people. You vote. Because the third and most important thing that you still have is your vote. That you vote for people who are willing to tell you these things. There is nobody else. One, all those other political operatives, they don't know these things until I say it. They're too lazy to research. And they don't care. They're just outside here to bust mark and pose. Talk a shit and sell the Indianness or the Africanness or the cleavage. I hear selling knowledge and information. And we've had the hardest task of all. Unlike every other politician out there, we've had to demonstrate our ability by proving concepts. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago is a proof of concept. The Candlelight Movement is a proof of concept. The Progressive Empowerment Party is a proof of concept. Victoria Foods Grab and Go, the Jericho Project, all of these things I have been a founder of. So when you ask me about your degrees, you could take all of the degrees you have and hang them on the wall. When I look around at my life at 54, my life is measured in helping tens of thousands of people. The Jericho Project has touched more homeless, orphans, and handicapped than just about any other organization in this country. We serve, not like the Lions, we literally serve. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. We are going to do a show next week. Ian Griffith, the head of our legal department, will be coming on the show and naming people that we've defended among our members from abuse in private and public sector that will shock you, that will make all of those who have not yet joined the Citizens Union rush to join the Citizens Union. When you hear average citizens tell you the abuse that you know that you could get tomorrow, and they tell you that happened to them, and that were it not for the Citizens Union, they lost. And because there is a Citizens Union, they didn't lose. You're going to hear that for yourself. He's compiling people from all different walks of life that we've helped, that we've rescued. The Citizens Union is a proof of concept. The Citizens Union saves its members 10 times the value of the membership. A lot of people sit down and count what people pay to join, and that is the limit of their consciousness. They don't understand what the people get. If you join an organization for $350 and then a business affiliate of that organization is selling you a pair of glasses, eyewear, glasses, tire, 20% off of what you would have paid without that card, and you save twice and 3 times the value of the membership that you pay, did you lose or is that a net gain? Across the board. And not only that, you get into hire people that you know that you can trust because they've passed through a rigorous system. And now, and to take it to the final degree, to prove the point, we are going to be offering starter homes to our members, $500,000. You know what I'm going to announce tonight? We have business affiliates willing to sell to our members. When you hear people say you can't get ivermectin, we could get ivermectin. When people tell you ivermectin selling for $18, $20, and $40, we could get it for you for under $10 for our Citizens Union members only. And don't join today to ask for it tomorrow. But these are the things that I work at every single day. How do we do better for our Citizens Union members? Why limit it to our Citizens Union members? So that people on the outside looking in will understand that this is a proof of concept. That if your membership is your vote, that you've voted for me and us by joining the Citizens Union, it is the equivalent of voting us into government. So if you could tell people, you pull this card out your pocket, you say, let me tell you something, when Trinidad run out of ivermectin, you see this card got me ivermectin cheaper than Kappa Drugs and Super Farm was selling it for. You see this card got me a starter home to buy cheaper than than HDC selling houses for, and I didn't have to go in the back room and take off my clothes and touch my toes. You see this card? Every time I look into shop, I go to a supermarket, a pharmacy, an optician, a car repair place. When I call in for a tile man or looking for a mason or a carpenter, I look into the catalog to see who is on the Citizens Union database, because I know not only are trustworthy people coming in my house, the best air condition repair technicians coming in my house, appliance repair people. I know not only the best coming into my house, but the most trustworthy. You see this card? This card lifts people's conditions in life. And this card is available to everybody who wants to join the Citizens Union. CitizensUnionTT.org, CitizensUnionTT.com. And we are proof of concept because we're 14 months old. And while others sat down with their calculator to work out what we could make for membership, what they're going to find out now is what the members got in exchange. Grab and go, Victoria Foods, 4 months old. Tuesday, yesterday, God, it's a blur. We had another meeting of young entrepreneurs. When I say young, people who now getting into business, manufacturing their own mobile, their own desserts, their own cakes, their own foods. Young chefs, young restaurateurs. Again, I'm using the word young, not for their age, but for the fact that they're new to the business. That coming into our Victoria Foods Grab and Go, when 90% of our shelf space is held for local manufacturers. And any time you bring something inside of there that we have right now, on our shelves, we met a woman yesterday. They manufacture dasheen and cassava cereal. Have a coconut flavor. It's like cornflakes, but it's made from dasheen and cassava. And it is on our shelf today. And I'm so proud. We sell local pancake syrup, blackstrap molasses, local, healthy stuff. All of our bread. No kiss, no quailo, nothing like that. All small businessmen. Pesh is the high end. And then a set of housewives and women that making the nicest homemade bread that you will ever eat. And I'm saying this to you so you understand. All of our beverages, yeah, we have Coke and Sprite and ginger ale for the people who want that, and LLB. But when you come on our shelves and you see the amount of small business people that manufacturing juice and CMOS and peanut punch and all kind of thing, that's what we for. So that, again, I want to tell you something, and I'm coming back to this. It's a proof of concept. The Progressive Empowerment Party was the only political party in this country's history launched with a manifesto. 21 policies that beat any manifesto that exists outside there. Will continue to beat them, and all they could do is copy and try and reword all of them. All people who pass through, operate in PEP for a little while, gone on to try and form their own little party or to pretend to form their own little political noise shop, and all they could talk about still is our policies. Because they work. It came from decades of research with people who understand. Our policy for changing the justice system in the country is a clock. Put a freaking timer on all matters. 1 year for civil matters, 2 years for criminal matters. Make the judge responsible for case management. Any judge whose cases run beyond the year and the 2 years, the case gets thrown out. And any judges who lose cases because they're getting thrown out because you can't manage the case, you're getting removed from the bench. That's how you run a country. Not fiefdoms. Not appointed for life because you and so use the Zami. That's not how you run a country. How you run a country is by who is able to deliver. That's how you run it. All our policies. When we tell them water, our water policy, capture, hold, treat, distribute. We told them the existing drains that exist, we will turn those into retention ponds. The existing drains, you gotta build nothing new. We'll turn that into retention bonds. We'll put sluice gates at the end of those same drains, and the water running over those sluice gates will run like mini dams, mini hydroelectric dams, and generate power to pump what you hold in the retention ponds during deluges of rainfall and send it to the reservoirs. They had nobody. And I walk the drains to show them that in Trinidad and Tobago, we've criminalized water. We've captured the water in the mountain and throw it away in the sea. So the Salcott could charge us $500 million a year to desalinate the same freaking water. This country is a joke. And our 21 policies removes the smirk from your face. Our 21 policies solves home ownership. It solves education. It solves agriculture and food production. It solves public health care. It solves transportation. It removes the drug trade, drug trafficking, money laundering, guns, arms, ammunition, human trafficking. Our 21 policies fixes Trinidad and Tobago. Our policies of constitutional reform fixes two things: recall and separate the legislature from the executive. So you have oversight of people who are professional in their fields and they are responsible for delivering, and you now have an entire parliament responsible for oversight. Imagine a country where by law the member of parliament has to hold 4 days in office for their constituents with a constituency board of supervisors. Listen, our policy, it rocked them. People say, oh, yeah, put people out of work. Nope, we're going to create more jobs. Our policy, hear this, we have 9 police divisions, 14 regional corporations, 5 regional health authorities, 41 constituencies. How that make sense? Say that again. 9 police divisions, 14 regional corporations, 5 regional health authorities, 41 constituencies. No chain of command could work in that bullshit model. The Progressive Empowerment Party will abolish all and will create a constituency board of supervisors. In each constituency, there will be a constituency of public works, public utilities, national security, healthcare, and education. So that within each constituency, you will know the performance of the team that's running it, and that they will get their share of the budget every year. It takes $250 million to run a constituency. Look your money bad now. If you thief it, you're going to make a jail. Because we don't give you any money. You win, your budget is approved, so that document becomes part of the national budget. And as you give out contracts to fix the road, build the school, repair the bridge, those quotations, once it matches up with the line item approved in the annual budget, the Chancellor, the Exchequer, would issue the check. So you don't even have the money to thief. And by law, you could only work with contractors within your constituency. So Junior Sammy and Kusals and Calcon, all them can come and take you to dinner and take you to Las Vegas to play with your knees under the table. You had to work with people in the constituency. No more overnight millionaire contractors. Those policies will change and fix Trinidad and Tobago. And then, besides all of that, we pledge to go after and audit every suspicious public works transaction from September 1st, 1962. And to find our money. And to go after it. And give lawyers and accounting firms 50% of what you find and bring back. If you go after somebody who took $1 billion in the airport and you brought back $1 billion, 500 million is yours. Because we get back 500 million for our treasury. So now you have lawyers and accounting firms, forensic accounting firms, organizing themselves like bounty hunters, running down all them contract mafia looking for we money. Because they now have a stake in it. People say stop putting sense in their head. They're not thieving none of these ideas. They're not. We tell them, put $2,000 value on every illegal gun and give police money when they bring in the gun as they bring it in. Let police bring it in. You have 40,000 guns, the Prime Minister say, run a stock check. When 40,000 reach, if guns still coming in, the Prime Minister count wrong. Trinidad could fix. It don't have to be this way. Everybody who wants a job could get a job. That's the first law. The well-being of the citizens is the reason, purpose of government. That's the justification for government. If you're not looking after the people. So when this jackass Fitzgerald Hines say, wean yourself off government, that's a fool. If you ever wondered what a fool looked like in real life, Fitzgerald Hines is a fool. Because you're not supposed to wean yourself off government. Government's supposed to wean itself off you. But government's job is to make sure that the people are so actualized that they can so pursue maximizing their potential that they don't need nothing from the government. That's a country worth living in. That's what we're selling. So until you vote us into office, we will use a citizens' union of Trinidad and Tobago model. And we've pushed ourselves to the breaking point. I mean, we fought hard to get all of this done. In 1 year, My team, Felicia Holder, Sean Sunarain, Satish Ramsaran, and me. That's the key team. We have big managers. And we've established a proper team growing and our human resource second to none. But those 4 people gave this country, besides the Progressive Empowerment Party, a functional citizens union of Trinidad and Tobago, a candlelight movement, Victoria Foods Grab and Go. We're working on the housing project and a grocery and hardware co-op to help our members save money buying in bulk. You want a better country? Vote for people who are willing to do that for you. I could have been in Holland. I could have been in New Zealand. I could have been in America. I could have been in Liechtenstein. I know what the ass that is. Anywhere I go, I bright. I could start off packing bags and in 5 years I own the grocery. I bright. You could hear how bright I am. I could be anywhere in the freaking world. Every now and then I have some time and nothing to do and I need a little dopamine hit. I go give all you a little bassa mark. I go say, how Kamala shoe looking so? How Rowley head shiny so? Or they give me 50 likes, 40 shares and say, boy, Phil, we love you. And I get a little dopamine hit and I go back to running around in the yard with my family. Or we stand up and we build. We build things that prove. We build things that protect. We build things that give equity to our members, citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. It's not just about people that say, don't call people name, but I have to expose them because they just sell themselves as me. They just use my words. All of them is rising tides that want to lift freaking boats. They can't lift the leg. Ask them how they're lifting any freaking boats. Do it now. Stop telling them, put me in government. Our concepts proven now. Right now, we're starting a jobs program. Janice Lemon Creaky, our PRO, one of our longest serving members, her mom died this week. May she rest in eternal peace. And Janice is away from us right now. But when she comes back, I want to talk to Janice about helping me start this jobs program because we have HR companies coming to us and saying, yeah, we're interested in your membership. Let's put them to work. They're good people. It's easy to talk. As watch Mariano and Vassan powder up the neck, spritz on their perfume, and go on TV6 in the morning. Abdullah powder all in my ears, talking shit. What dance you want this morning when the cameras go live? Tell me what to say. This one good and that one bad, or that one bad and this one. Whatever all you want, all you get, you know. Just pay me. Put plate on that. Put food on that plate. Trinidad will change when we want it to change. When 1.4 million of us stop being fools to the contract mafia. Because the contract mafia wants you to be black first, to be Afro-Trinbagonian and all that bullshit, Indian first, UNC till that dead bullshit. They want that. You're working for them, you're helping their agenda and impoverishing yourself and pushing a life of opportunity further and further from your children, where the only successful Trinbagonians are the ones who escape the plantation. Don't let that continue to be our story now. What y'all think Barbados thought when Rowley showed up there? Think they look at him and see the leader of a country that makes sense? The whole Caribbean know Trinidad is a shithole. The Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of thief where you want land. They know. They know. They're dealing with the same charlatans. A lot of these countries, Guyana want to pass a law that keep Trinidadians from owning land and doing business in Guyana because they're afraid we... Anyway, I just realized we're well into the second hour. 9 police divisions, 14 regional corporations, 5 regional health authorities, and 41 constituencies. Tell me, and how many counties? Satish didn't count the counties. All of that, a madman set up Trinidad and Tobago. Remember that you learn in school? St. George and St. David in the north, Caroni, St. Andrews, the River Victoria in the center, St. Patrick, Mayaro in the south. 8 counties. 8 counties. 9 police divisions, 8 counties, 14 regional corporations, 5 regional health authorities, 41 constituencies. How the hell anything could work in that? How? How could anything work in that? In the age of information, our country set up to frustrate. information. I learned that in standard 2 years. Somebody's somebody just sent me a map of Liechtenstein in case I want to go. Thank you, Deborah. Yeah? Watch me. I'm trying to keep on top of these messages you're sending, but all you're overdoing it now on the WhatsApp at 140. I just dropped it to 100 before the show. It back up to 140. I can't keep up. Yeah? So, in closing, it could work if we want to fix it. It's up to us. And it comes down to that. And to all of you who are going to message me and tell me, Philip, boy, you're so bright and we love you and you're politically sexy and all that, thank you very much. I love that. But I want to tell you this. Come on board now. Come and help me now. Do it for wickedness. Do it for spite. Just show people that, you know what? You know, you're going to fix this shit. And the people who bad talk me, avoid them. Come and prove a point. Because a lot of them who can't build a mousetrap talking about us who building so much. Come and help us build more. Every time new good people come on board, when I tell you we have some new and bright people, I don't want to call their name because I don't want nobody to come and headhunt them. But we have room and space because the more good people come on board, I told somebody today, I said, as soon as somebody come and they take this, I'll take this off of you, Phil. I'll handle it. And you're capable and you're able and you show up to cabinet meeting and you say, yeah, this is where we reach with that. That's it. Running the businesses like I would run the country with a cabinet. Where were you last week? Where are we this week? What's the difference and why? What's your goal? Are you closer to your goal, further than your goal? Why? And that's the conversation. Running it just so. Pushing hard. People have delivered well beyond what they thought they would ever have been able to deliver in their lives. Not one, not two, but 3 businesses. And this housing project, I can't wait, you know, I really can't wait to hand over the keys to the first house. We would be the only political organization as a private entity to provide starter homes in this country. Imagine that. And if you all still don't realize that it could fix, that there are no obstacles to fixing it, but what's in your mind. Aji and Aja and what they tell you, mommy and mama and papa, stop that bullshit. When they will let us stray, you don't have to continue it out of loyalty. Your job is to go forward and fix the country for a better future so that they can rest in peace. Let's do it. Those of you who have been asking how to advertise on our shows, message me please, 682-2110. Message me directly. We will give you the most bang for your buck. When you advertise with us, and you're going to get influencer advertising from me, you're going to get recommender advertising from me, because I'm going to use your product for people to see. Damn it! Today is the 15th year anniversary of Trinity Lighting in St. James, and I was supposed to go to Trinity Lighting in St. James today and do a video because today is the 15th year anniversary, and I want to invite all of Trinidad and Tobago, all of your Christmas lights, all of your lighting and all of your lighting needs. Go down to Trinity Lighting in St. James. It's next door to KFC. It's on Western Main Road. You can't miss it. They have every little obscure bulb that you're looking for, every appliance, for every type of halogen filter, every halogen fixture, any kind of fixture. They have specialty lights and they have everything. Everything, every type of, and they have all kind of fancy fixtures at real good prices. Go down to Trinity Lighting and tell them, ask for Mr. Martinez, and tell them Philip Edward Alexander sent you to that store to buy there and that you want your cut discount, and they will take care of you. And I want to apologize to Mr. Martinez and the people at Trinity Lighting. If they had 4 of me today, I still couldn't be everywhere I was supposed to be. Tuesday, I passed through and I show my face and everything, and people still complain. I need to get a clone. I've hired an executive assistant, and you all will meet her in the very near future. She's been working with us for decades, but now she's been assigned to me and the teams that I work with to bridge and help build out. So you'll be getting those phone numbers shortly. But right now, if you would like to make donations to the organization, I want you to deal with me directly. I wanna give you the respect that you deserve, and I don't want to do it second and third hand. Message me on 682-2110, please. We would like to give everybody as much mileage in return for any help, sponsorship. The shows that we're doing every Tuesday and Thursday. Last night's show was the biggest thing in Trinidad, and if you are sponsoring that show, you get real mileage. This Thursday here, we have Commander Garvin Hero tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We have Commander Garvin Hero on the show talking national security, talking 300 beaches and only 15 secured, and why the Coast Guard cannot secure this nation. Why? We're having that conversation tomorrow. On Tuesday, we're talking with Stephen Matheson one-on-one to explain how industrial relations and the industrial court and what rights you as a worker have. And it's really important that you know this. And he is a man, like how my brother speaks about healthcare and you understand every word he says. Stephen Matheson is like that when it comes to industrial relations, and he'll be joining us next week Tuesday. If you are a professional in your field and you want to come on board with us to talk anything, we're trying to bring a lot of people that we bring for you. We want to bring future cabinet members to you, cabinet ministers, and I want to bring a potential minister of education to talk to you, and I want to bring a potential minister of the economy to talk diversification of the economy and how finance works. And those people over the next couple of weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock, tune in, mark it, lock it, don't lose it. Yeah? Those of you who would like to sponsor those shows, please, 682-2110, reach out to me, and the team will get back onto you. Yeah? I think that's about it. As of today, unfortunately, to join the Progressive Empowerment Party, as of today, it's $100. But you get a card, and if you join for $200, you get a card and a t-shirt. The $200 is a lifetime membership. You never have to pay anything again after that. So that's on you. You could reach out to Hadassah Charles McLeod, or just message me and I'll forward it to whoever it needs to forward to. But to join the Progressive Empowerment Party, visit peptt.com/join. Finally, today, in the meeting with Ian Griffith, who is the head of Cut Legal, and Sean Sunarine, who handles Cut membership, we discussed with our finance team offering membership plans based on families and groups, so that it could be a group, could be an association, the Hunters Association, or it could be it could be all the delivery drivers of Royal Castle. It could be any group of people that share a common purpose. That group will get, if they join collectively, they'll get a saving back to the original price, but you have to join collectively. A group is 3 people or more. A family plan is the same, 3 people or more. Once you could prove your relation to each other, your immediate family, boom. So people have been asking us that they want to be able to join in bulk and save. That's coming. Satish working on the details right now. He told me today in the meeting, he cried and he wept, he shed a tear, and he said that he's overworked and swamped. So we're trying to get an assistant for Satish Ramsaran. If you feel that you would like to work with Satish, his number is 796-8172. Reach out to Satish, or you can message me your resume and I'll pass it on to him. He's looking for an assistant, somebody who wants to learn the media and all the work that we do with communications and information technology. He handles our websites and the catalogs and all that drama. So if you want to get part, if you want to be a part, if you're technically predisposed, message him 796-8172, or you can message me 682-2110. Yeah? So I think that's it. It's 10:59. I gave you all 2 full hours tonight, and I think we hit a lot of important issues. Tomorrow night, we have Commander Garvin Hero at 8 p.m. You don't want to miss this. Until tomorrow, stay safe. Trinidad and Tobago.